Okay, we are going to start lesson 3 of preparing for the first certificate. And I remind you to turn off the video, do the exercises, then turn them back on to correct them. And hope you've had a good day at school and are having a good afternoon. All right, this chapter is about education, and we're going to start out with word formation. Number 1. Julia is only 15, but she has been offered a job by a top modeling agency. 2. She has also received an invitation to work in Australia. Number 3. She thinks the work would be unbelievably exciting. Number 4. However, her big ambition is to work in the same field as her father. Number 5. Her father is an expert on architectural design. Number 6. Lara hopes to specialize in architecture at university. Number 7. She wants to get some good qualifications before she leaves school. And then number 8, she is studying design and techniques at the moment. All right, the adjective noun collocations, we're going to match A with B, and they are bright lights, late nights, lucky break, screen test, spare time, and talent scout. Luca Chiesa has become quite famous in the film world. His lucky break came 6 months ago when he was still only 16. Luca was spotted by a talent scout when he was in a school play. He flew to the USA the next day for a screen test. Then they gave him a role in a major film. The film was a great success, but Luca has decided to resist the bright lights of Hollywood for a while. He spends all his spare time in the local film studios, but school comes first at the moment. His real ambition is to study medicine, and he knows if he has too many late nights, he will spoil his chances of going to medical school. Okay, the next section is grammar and use of English. You're to underline the correct verb form from the options. Number 1, my teacher expects me to do well in the exams. Number 2, our study trip to England was fantastic. It was definitely worth going to. I really enjoyed seeing all the places we'd read about in school. But at the end of the week, I hated leaving all the friends I'd made. Number 3, I forgot to put my name on the list for swimming. Remind me to do it tomorrow, will you? Number 4, would you mind helping me to move this desk? It's really heavy. Number 5, do you fancy coming to my house after school this evening? Number 6, I'm not keen on science lessons. I don't mind doing the experiments, but I hate learning formula. Number 7, when my grandparents were at school, their teachers made them wear a uniform. Pupils were made to learn everything by heart, too. Number 8, they don't let us use the school tennis courts during the holidays, which is really annoying. All right, changing the meaning. A, has your daughter got a role in that movie? No, I regret to say that she hasn't. In fact, I think she regrets leaving. 1. A. I'll never forget dancing with you, Alicia. It's been a wonderful evening. B. Oh, Marco, you won't forget to phone me tomorrow, will you? All right, turn to page 23. 2. Do you remember locking the back door before we came out this evening? B. No, I don't. I hope we haven't been burglared. Oh, well, it's a good thing that I remembered to turn on the burglar alarm. 3. Stop driving so fast. We've got plenty of time. Sorry, look, I'll have to stop at this garage to get some petrol anyways. 4. Tom and I played tennis yesterday. The match lasted for ages. In fact, we went on playing until it got dark. I won the first 2 games, but Tom went on to win in the end. Number 5. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I didn't realize you were still working. That's okay. I'm nearly finished. I've got to have this project ready for tomorrow, which means checking I haven't made any silly mistakes. Number 6. What's going on? The car's broken down. Dad's trying to start it. Well, why don't we try pushing it? That often works. Okay, and then we're going to go on to the verbs, number 4, the verbs and prepositions. And an interesting point here is that when you use a preposition like at, for, of, on, or to, then the verb is going to use ing. So that's what we're practicing in these sentences. Number 1. The headmaster congratulated me on passing my exams. Number 2. I apologize for not writing to you for so long. Number 3. It's hard to get used to sitting at a desk again after such a long holiday. Number 4. I object to working while the rest of my family are lazing in the garden. Number 5. I'm looking forward to meeting your sister. Number 6. I'm afraid I'm not very keen on swimming. Number 7. Are you good at playing squash? Number 8. If you're tired of lying on the beach, why don't you go shopping? We're going to do part 5, the transformations. Sentence 1. Many young people do not want to study beyond age 16. Many young people are not interested in studying beyond the age 16. Number 2. It wasn't my intention to worry you. I didn't mean to worry you. Number 3. Their parents wouldn't allow them to go to the party. Their parents wouldn't let them go to the party. Number 4. I don't object to studying during the holidays. I don't mind studying during the holidays. Number 5. It took us ages to get to the airport. We spent a long time getting to the airport. Number 6. I would prefer not to go to the concert. I would rather not go to the concert. Number 7. I don't think you should go out tonight. You'd better not go out tonight. Number 8. Getting the right grades to go to university was not easy for him. It was hard for him to get the right grades to go to university. And number 9. Please don't let me forget to post this letter. Please remind me to post this letter. Okay, now on to page 24. On the word formation, getting these verbs to be nouns or adjectives, I'm just going to run through them, and then we'll go on to the section where you fill in the words with the correct form. The verb fail, failure, then failed. Number 2, employ. You've got employer or employee. And then for the adjective, employed or unemployed. Then number 3, to solve is the verb, solution is the noun, and solved or unsolved is the adjective. Then number 4, occupy is the verb. The noun is occupation, and the adjective is occupied. Number 5, fascinate is the verb. The noun is fascination, and the adjective is fascinating or fascinated. And then the verb educate, the noun is education. The adjectives are educated or uneducated. All right. Number 1, 16-year-old Sonia Jones plans to work in an advertisement when she leaves school. Works in advertisement when she leaves school. Number 2, she will have to work hard if she wants to be successful in her chosen career. Unfortunately, there's a high employment in this field at present. 4, Sonia's teacher is one of her strongest supporters. Number 5, there is a strong possibility that Sonia and her family may move to Australia next year. 6, there are far more job opportunities over there, so this could be an ideal solution to her problems. Now, prepositions to fill in the gaps. Number 1, my brother is very intelligent. He had learnt to read by the age of 4. Number 2, I'm sure I'll have a fantastic time at university. Number 3, my best friend will be in Paris by the time we finish this class. Number 4, I met Juan on the day I started school, and from that day on we have been the best of friends. Number 5, I bought Mom a cassette for her birthday. Number 6, I'm sure it's not good for Chris to spend so long at the computer. Now we're going to use phrasal verbs. These are very important for the use of English part of the first certificate. Number 1, Tom has started a new school, but he's finding it difficult to make friends and settle in. I can never work out the answers to mathematical equations. My brother is planning to set up his own business next year. Number 4, we asked an architect to draw up plans for our new house. Number 5, our teacher caught someone trying to break into the school computer programs. Then we're going to choose the correct word in part 4. Irma attends a private school in the city center. Number 2, my dad's going to invest the money he won on the lottery in his business. Number 3, Natalie is ill, so I suggest we postpone the party until next week. Number 4, I used the computer to help me solve a problem I had with my homework. Number 5, why have you missed so much school recently? Number 6, I spent a lot of time on the internet these days. And then 7, my dad persuaded me to stay at school. And number 8, Tom's hobbies haven't harmed him in his education. Okay. Part page 25, Vocabulary and Use of English. On section 1, we're just going to fill in the correct word. I would try to do it on your own and then listen here. Number 1, I have a piano lesson at home every week with my very own private tutor. Number 2, Mr. Brown has reached the very highest rank in the university and is now a professor of surgery. Number 3, my neighbor has just got a full-time job as lecturer in economics at our local college. Number 4, unless you study more, you will fail your exams. Number 5, I'm nervous because I'm due to take a big exam tomorrow. Number 6, if I pass my driving test, my dad says he'll buy me a car. Number 7, I'm hoping to get a place at university to study medicine. Number 8, there's no more room on the coach, I'm afraid. You'll have to wait for the next one. Number 9, there isn't nearly enough parking space outside the school. Number 10, I've lost my birth certificate, but they've agreed to type out a new one for me. 11, Julia left university with a first-class degree in biology. 12, you have to do a written and a practical test before you can get a driver's license. Now we're going to choose A, B, C, or D for each of the gaps. Take a minute to read it and then we'll do it together. A famous writer. Joanne Rowling, a famous almost overnight. She is the author of a highly successful series of books for young people. Joanne has dreamt of being a writer for as long as she can remember. In fact, she has been making up stories and characters ever since she was a schoolgirl. When she was still quite young, the family moved to a town called Chepstow. A family who lived nearby were called Potter, and she used their name for the hero of her books. She and her sister Di attended a state school in the town. At school, she was hardworking and rather reserved. She was particularly good at English and languages. Her talent for telling stories made her a popular figure in the school. During breaks between lectures, she was often surrounded by a crowd of friends, anxious to hear the latest story she had written. She often included her classmates in her stories, although they were not always aware of this. When she left school, Joanne succeeded in getting a place at university. After graduating, she got a degree in French. Joanne worked as a teacher in a school in Portugal. She married a journalist, but sadly, the couple soon broke up and she moved to Edinburgh. She had no income and couldn't even afford a plastic folder to send her new book to potential publishers. However, one wonderful day, a publisher said yes. It was the greatest day of her life. Now we're going to do a reading, and it's called The First Day at School, and we're going to match the titles that identify the paragraphs. One morning afternoon, Ivy was very surprised to see her daughter Anne and little granddaughter Joy. "This is a funny time to visit me," she said. "Is everything all right?" "It's Joy," replied Anne. "It was her first day at school today, and she's refusing to go back tomorrow. But she won't tell us what happened." Anne went to make some tea, leaving Ivy alone with her granddaughter. "Tell me what happened," prompted Ivy after a while. Joy said in a rush, "I got the sums wrong, and then I was upset. I upset the paint. Then I broke a boy's ruler, and so he chased me. The correct answer for this is C. I fell over and the teacher told us both off. She was horrid. I'm not going back. Tell me a story, please, Grandma. Ivy smiled. I'll tell you about my first day at school, but if it sounds worse than yours, then you'll have to go to school tomorrow. Is it a bargain? Joy nodded her head. All right then, said Ivy. When I was your age, girls had to wear a white pinafore over a blue dress. What's a pinafore? Asked Joy. It's a sort of white apron with pockets. What a funny thing to wear to school. Now, the correct answer is D. I thought exactly the same thing, but it was the rule. Anyway, I didn't know any of the other children, so I felt a bit lonely on my first day. The teacher looked very serious, and when she suddenly called out my name, I was terrified. The correct gap here is B. I walked slowly to the front of the classroom and looked up at her. She said, Ivy Wilson, you cannot come to school with hair like that. You must tie it back. Please, miss, I haven't got a ribbon, I answered in a whisper. So she gave me an old piece of string. All the other girls with long hair were wearing ribbons, so I felt ridiculous. Poor Grandma, said Joy sympathetically. Everything seemed to go wrong after that, continued Ivy. In the break, we had to go outside and do skipping. I tried my best, but for some reason I got out of step with everyone. So the teacher made me stand aside and just watch the others. The correct gap would be H. I felt so disappointed with my efforts. You had a horrible day, but mine was just as bad, said Joy. I haven't finished yet, retorted Ivy. Lunchtime was worse. We had to eat in the school dining room, and you had to finish everything on your plate. I didn't expect this to be a problem, though. That's part A, or letter A. I was extremely hungry by this time. But then I saw what they were serving. The food I hated most. Liver. I sat down and started to eat the vegetables, but every time I looked at the liver, I felt sick. Finally, when I thought that nobody was looking, I picked the liver up in my handkerchief and put it in my pocket. Joy looked at her grandmother with a new respect and said, Did anyone see? Final lesson was reading. We took our pinafores off and sat in a circle taking turns to read, which I was normally quite good at. And the correct letter here is F. I was so nervous about what I'd done, however, that I kept making mistakes. The girl next to me, who was called Rose, read perfectly, and the teacher praised her at the end. Then we all went to collect our pinafores, which were hanging up outside. To my horror, I saw a stain on my pinafore pocket where the juice from the liver had soaked through. Suddenly the teacher shouted, Who does this pinafore belong to? Pointing to mine. Now the correct answer here is E. I thought I was going to get into real trouble this time. But before I could reply, Rose said, It's mine, miss. I had a nosebleed after lunch and my hanky got messy. The teacher said, Oh, really? Well, make sure it's clean before tomorrow. After that, Rose was my best friend. So, Joy, was my day worse than yours? It certainly was, so I'll go back to school tomorrow, replied Joy with a sigh. We have one more page, and then we're done with lesson 3. Page 28, and we're only going to do the transformations, number 3. I don't think you should wear that ring to school. If I were you, I wouldn't wear that ring to school. Number 2. I'll go to the concert on condition that you pay for me. I'll go to the concert provided you pay for me. Number 3. If you work hard, you will get to university. You will get to university as long as you work hard. Number 4. I'm not going to school trip because I can't afford it. I won't go on the school trip if I would go on the school trip if I could afford it. 5. You'll miss the bus if you don't hurry up. You'll miss the bus unless you hurry up. Number 6. I can't come to the disco because it's my grandmother's birthday. I could come to the disco if it weren't my grandmother's birthday. Number 7. I haven't got enough money to pay for my ticket. If I had more money, I could pay for my ticket. Number 8. I don't think you should spend so much time in front of the computer. If I were you, I wouldn't spend so much time in front of the computer. Number 9. I won't go to the cinema without Paul. I won't go to the cinema unless Paul goes too. And the last one, bring a jacket to the barbecue because it might rain. Bring a jacket to the barbecue in case it rains. And that's it. I hope you've done well, and we'll see you next time.